Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 20 of Just Jenni Lee. It feels like kind of a milestone. I didn't know where this would go when I started it, and the only thing that I have trouble with is keeping up with making the Just Jenni Lees as the ideas come to me. So it's been a lot of fun, and sometimes I get kind of busy the last few days. We actually were incredibly busy. We have like stuff going on at the church, and I was just plagued with migraines pretty much every day the last 4 or 5 days. Even if I woke up without one, I was having a crashing one by dinner time. So last night that happened, and I went to bed early, and when I woke up, it was still crushing my brain. So I didn't even know if I thought at first maybe I wouldn't even get out of bed today because I was feeling that badly. But I took some Excedrin and, drank some water and did my little routine, and I was feeling significantly better post workout. I didn't even skip my workout. So I was kind of like thinking, oh gosh, I don't know if I'm going to make it. And I felt significantly better after that. So I was also chugging a lot of water. Anyways, as I was going through my morning and realizing, wow, I feel so much better. Even though I woke up with a screaming migraine, I feel great. Like it's not that the pain is totally gone, although it's much improved, but I'm just thinking like, I just feel better even within myself. And I started to realize like the last several days, I was just getting very burnt out on trying to do like photography of my artwork and website stuff. And I create content for Hope for a Woman's Heart as well. And so I think my eyes and my brain and everything was just getting overwhelmed. And then my husband and I were trying yet again to have another bulk cooking day together over the weekend, and it just didn't work out. And things are just very busy for us right now. So I need to do that today too. And I thought like, oh my gosh, how can I do all this? I don't know. I realized though that in my attempt to get through like taking all the pictures of my artwork and uploading everything to the website and writing all these descriptions and creating Hope for a Woman's Heart content and helping with the church production that they're doing, I realized I just wasn't leaving myself any space for the studio. And I think honestly, it was making me miserable. So even though I didn't feel physically great, I also like didn't feel emotionally great. And I just didn't want to like drag a bad attitude to church or to my husband or to whatever. And so I woke up this morning feeling like I don't even know if I can get out of bed. And I ended up within the next couple hours realizing I just needed balance. Balance isn't optional. So that's kind of where I'm headed today as I come back into this piece, which has been patiently waiting for me to give it a little bit of a makeover. Nothing crazy, just the line work isn't exactly like photo worthy. So I just want to darken some of these lines up so that they'll show up a little bit better on the prints, which by the way are turning out fabulously. So it is effort well spent, but it's, I can get really easily hyper-fixated on things. That's just, my nature is to feel excitement over things and to just want to finish them. Probably a little bit of that comes from like my habit that I had my whole life of cramming for things. When I had an assignment at school or whatever, I was always very busy. I was working even at a young age, and I was always taking care of my brothers. I was responsible for a lot at a young age, and my parents counted on me. And, whether you agree or disagree with that, that's kind of neither here nor there. That was the reality of my life, and there was very little I could do about it. But I still wanted to like get good grades, and I still wanted to do my own thing and have my own life. And so I learned at a really young age how to multitask. And I was able to get really excellent grades while oftentimes working and taking care of my brothers and taking care of the cooking in the house. I won't say I took care of all the cleaning, but I was responsible for a lot of it. My brothers definitely had their fair share assigned to them because my parents already felt bad for putting so much responsibility on me. They didn't do it out of cruelty. They did it sort of out of necessity. But in any case, I was just really busy, and I and I would have like not enjoyed life at all if I didn't work hard as a child to achieve balance. And it's funny because I sometimes am not as good at it now as I was as a child. I definitely took more time to read. I definitely took more time to just be outside in nature. As a young child, obviously, I couldn't drive. And so if I was going places, which we went to a lot of places as kids back in the day, I was riding my bike or walking a lot of the time. I didn't always even have a bike. And so walks would be, hours worth sometimes endeavors. We didn't, live super close to where I needed to be a lot of the time. And so if I was able to walk somewhere and I get there in under an hour, that would be impressive. But walking was just like a normal thing for me. And nowadays I have to like force myself to get outside and walk because I don't have any need to walk. I can just get in my car and I can go wherever I want to go, or I can rope my husband into driving me somewhere, and I don't need to walk anywhere. And so now walking is optional. It's not bad outside today. It's maybe like 55 or 60 degrees, somewhere in there, whatever. And it's wet out. It's been raining like for the last 12 hours or something, and it's super foggy as the snow is melting. There's this white misty fog that is everywhere, and everything is wet. So even though it's warmish outside, or warmer for us upstate New Yorkers here, I wouldn't walk in it. I'm not going to go put on my galoshes or whatever and my raincoat and go walk. I don't even know if it's raining right now. It just looks like it's raining. And I probably won't go and walk. Not going to lie. Even though I need the fresh air, even though it's good for you just to go outside and breathe fresh air, but I probably won't. I'm not super motivated. But as a kid, that didn't stall me ever. I had a paper route for 4 years, and I was walking 7 days a week, 365 days a year for a good 4 years of my life. And so it's interesting to me that the things that would bring us into balance, as adults, sometimes we were naturally doing these things as kids, but then we stop. We stop just taking time to play. We stop taking time just to hang out with somebody and be goofy or silly. We stop playing games, if we ever did play them. My husband was telling me that his family never played games, which I thought that is the weirdest thing ever. Because we didn't have a TV growing up, so all we ever did was play board games and card games and all that sort of thing, which I introduced him to, and now he will actually choose playing games over watching TV, which is really nice for me because TV still kind of irritates me. I can watch it some, but not a ton. So, it's interesting because in some ways, I feel like I have helped him to achieve more balance in his life. But I am often struggling to maintain my balance in life. I get hyper-fixated on, oh my gosh, I want to do this or I want to do that. And then it feels like everything else isn't like pushed by the wayside, but gets like squeezed, So then maybe I'm not as good about my working out time, and then it will go by the wayside altogether. I may be good for, a while. I've never committed to doing it every day, so this is a little unusual, but normally I would do like 3 to 4 days a week, and then maybe something would come up, and then maybe 3 or 4 weeks go by, I'm not doing it, and then it ends up being 3 or 4 months. And then it's really hard to get back into. My body is like, what are you doing? I thought we were done with this, So I find that maintaining consistency is the key to me maintaining balance. And even if I have to be like, okay, well, every day there's going to be a 20-minute segment of my day that's devoted to a little bit of working out. And every day there's going to be, a 15, 20-minute time span that's devoted to meditative time. And every day, there are some, and it may feel like my day is fractured and divvied up and not, and kind of all over the place. But I think these things are so grounding that what ends up happening, at least for me, is that I end up being more productive and effective in other areas of my life. So, Yeah, I just want to like take 5 minutes today and pause and say, balance is important. And just like brushing your teeth every day is probably a good thing to clean off that plaque, which is persistently rebuilding itself every single day. Even if you don't eat anything, even if you don't drink anything, that plaque is persistently rebuilding itself on your teeth every day. And so, like, I think of myself, spiritually and emotionally like that. There's this plaque that builds up that like hardens my heart, that hardens my emotions, that hardens my sensibilities, and it makes me feel like edgy, makes me feel anxious, makes me feel depressed. It makes me feel like I don't even know why. I texted my friend Callie this morning and I'm like, man, I've had this migraine for like 5 days now. Not like nonstop, but pretty much at some point in the middle of the day, it's come on, and it's come on really hard like a truck. And last night, because I happened to be at church doing the rehearsal for this big production, at some point I was like, I thought I'm going to pass out, throw up. I don't know. My husband's like, yeah, we're out of here. Let's go. And so I came home and I was in a bad place last night. I felt so sick, and I was shocked that when I woke up this morning at like or when my husband got up this morning, he was up earlier than 7. He was probably up at like 5 something. And I was like, wow, this really hurts. He went and got me an ice pack. When I woke up again at like 7 o'clock, I'm like, I can't believe this. This is still persisting. And so I got up and I took some Excedrin and I laid back down for a while. Man, I struggled to get up until probably like 11. I had a conversation with a friend, and so I was kind of like lounging around for that. And then about 11 o'clock, I'm like, well, it's either, your commitment to yourself every day is the same. So you're either going to do it or you're going to say, today I can't. And I was like, just really bound and determined that I wouldn't lose that space that I feel has kept me really grounded. Even yesterday, I had to be at church at 7:30 in the morning, which means I had to wake up at 5:30 to do my whole thing. And I was just like, gosh, I don't know. But it was so good. By the time I was done with my workout and my time in prayer and meditation and with my bath and all that sort of thing, I felt like $1,000,000. So there was no migraine first thing in the morning yesterday. That came on later on in the day. And some of that, I think, comes from not having enough balance. I had been working really hard on my own website and on my prints and photographing everything. And then I was trying to work really hard on creating other content for Hope for a Woman's Heart. And at some point, I think my eyes just got exhausted again and gave out again. And so I just needed to remember, hey, all these things, they're all going to get done in due time. And stressing and fretting and freaking out about it isn't going to help, I want to make sure that I put realistic expectations on myself and that I give myself grace and mercy to understand that, I keep myself really busy and it's okay to like dive into certain things, but that doesn't mean to put away routines that are so effective at managing my well-being. Basically, I think these things are in place for my well-being, not out of some obligation, not out of some need for control, but more like I was thinking about it as I was drinking water today, because I also realized, wow, I've kind of gotten away from being really good about drinking water. My husband will buy me tea and stuff, and I really love it, and so I'll be drinking that, and then I'm not choosing water. And it's not balanced. It's not balanced, and my body can tell. And I started to say to him yesterday, what if the headaches are a result of some of this, change? And maybe I'm having too much tea and I'm having too much this or not enough that. And he wholeheartedly agreed. So I think that being like aware of what is balance, what is balance for me? What is balance for me is not going to be balance for somebody else. We're all different. So I think that's something that is your own journey that you have to figure out. But I do know that for me, balance means you don't just stay out of the studio for a whole week at a shot because it kind of hurts my sensibilities. There's like this draw and this drive that I cannot explain. And it's just an incredibly important thing for me to be in the studio to create. And I just need to make sure that that is, a part of maybe not my daily life, but at least my weekly existence, where I'm coming in here, like I said about the fiber arts room and in the fiber arts yarn cast that I just put up. Like my husband was like, you need to go touch grass, but it needs to be yarn. For me, it's both like yarn and art supplies. Add a little bit of the piano in there and I'm probably like good to go. I think that we all have our things that help us to maintain balance, and it's a good thing. I was talking to somebody recently saying I feel bad that I've been like self-preservationist in my life here and even in my relationship, and he was very encouraging. He's like, self-preservation isn't necessarily a bad thing. It can keep you healthy. It can keep you alive. It can keep you well. It can keep you protected. So, don't look at it like that. Look at it as doing what you need to do in order to stay safe and healthy. And it's unlikely that you're like, conniving and manipulating people. It's just a matter of feeling like you are being selfish because you're doing things that you need to do to maintain your life. Being unbalanced is not a sustainable existence. You must have balance, because the reason why is it's not sustainable not to have balance. And I guess at this point in my life, I'm just pursuing things that are sustainable. If it's not sustainable, if it's frantic, if it's really throwing me out of balance, I have to look at why. I'm not saying it's not what is supposed to happen. I could look at this sewing project with a church and be like, I don't know, this is throwing me all off kilter. But I feel that you may be pushed into situations that put you past your comfort zone. And that's okay, because that happens to me all the time. But what helps me get through those spaces is having balance in other areas of my life. And then maintaining that balance, just like I was talking about in my last Just Jenni Lee, or maybe the one before that where I lost 80 pounds. The way that I really did that was I learned how to maintain whatever weight loss that I had. I didn't have a ton of weight loss really. At the end of the day, I had a ton of maintenance of whatever weight loss I had achieved. And so I think that's the same thing with balance, maybe, as I'm hitting a couple months into my 50th year, I feel like one of the most important things I'm really learning is consistency is achieved through balance, and balance isn't optional, and balance is the only thing that's actually truly sustainable. So if you made it this far in this video, I am so grateful for you to be here. I just really appreciate you for coming and hanging out. If you like this content, I would love to have a like and a subscribe, and a comment would be cool. If you're an artist, let me know, because I'd love to touch base with other creatives. And let's see, well, it's Monday, so I guess I'm going to wish you a really lovely rest of your day and a rest of your week. So I will catch you in the next video.